like a lot of people, most of us in this industry didn't choose this industry to work in. We probably fell into it after realizing that some other venture wouldn't work out, and that was the case for me as well. I dropped out of college, and my dad sent me to secretarial school, and when I got out of secretarial school, the only job I could find, it was the 80s, was in the underwriting department of an insurance company. This nice lady, Diane, who's still a great friend and coworker today, brought me into the underwriting department of an insurance company and taught me everything she knew about underwriting health insurance policies, claims, just everything in between. So it was a great opportunity for me, especially being non-degreed, to be able to come in and learn something from the bottom up, and it really was a blessing at that time in my life. Turns out the company that we both worked for had affiliated with a marketing agency, a really large one, and they had gone all over the country and misrepresented the policy that we specifically worked with. Unfortunately, what that meant to my employer was the claims that were going to come in from that were going to be sizable, and the policies had been sold incorrectly by literally thousands of people. And so as quickly as it could happen, this company couldn't hire enough lawyers to get them out of the claims dilemma they were in. And so they trained a lot of us who had underwriting and claims experience already to read the provisions of a health insurance policy and review those against claims as they came in and look for ways to deny those claims. So we did that in very large volume. We would wait until nice people like you filed a pretty good sized claim, and then we'd go rummage around in your medical history and look for things that you maybe didn't disclose on the application that we could use to take your coverage away and decline that claim. So one lady really changed it for me. There were a lot of sad stories, as you might imagine, but one in particular just didn't give up. And she called right to my desk after she had received my letter taking her coverage away. And she had a very serious health condition. She had been diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor. And what I had done to help my employer get out of paying those claims was found 3 very minor health conditions that weren't disclosed on her enrollment form when she applied. They had nothing to do with her current health situation or the claim that we received. But we had a 3-strikes you're out rule, and that meant if I could find 3 little things that we didn't know about, then we could rescind your coverage, refund your premiums, and deny all your claims. So she called right to my desk, and of course that was before caller ID and before we could actually know who's called to avoid, right? And she was on the other line immediately, just sobbing and begging and saying that she didn't have this tumor when she applied for the coverage, and I agreed with her that she didn't. I remembered her situation. And after probably 20 minutes or so of just begging and pleading and crying on the phone, she paused for a minute and then she said these words. She said, "I just want you to know you've just told a dead woman. She has no insurance." And she hung up as quickly as that. And it definitely was a changing moment in my life. It was one of those times where you really reflect upon the work you do and the work you want to do. And in that moment, I said a very quiet little prayer right there at my desk that was, Lord, if I ever get the chance to give people their coverage back, that's the work I'd like to do. Didn't think anything more of it. I moved on in the industry. Thankfully, I was promoted into some other areas, and I got to really help people and work with employers and work with and do the kind of work I wanted to do. However, I still had in my mind that I would like to explore the opportunity to give people their coverage back. Brinson Benefits was founded April 1st of 1996. I started with $40,000 in personal savings and borrowed a conference table and a telephone from my father at his office in Dallas, and just started a business. And Within the first year, I had designs on patient advocacy. I had thoughts about how I could roll that out. And I printed a card, and I handed that card to every single employee of every group that I enrolled as I enrolled them in their new benefits program. And I told them, if you don't want to, you never have to speak to an insurance company again. And that's really been our continuing commitment. All these years later, almost 20 years, we've put together a very unique team of unscripted patient advocates who represent the best interest of our patient every time they call and ask for help. We don't care if it's a big amount of money or a small amount of money. Last year, we recovered over $1 million, I think it was $1,100,000 in claims that had been wrongly delayed, denied, processed wrong, or billed wrong by somebody. And we exist to get the money back in the pocket of the patient where it belongs.